What's up, everybody? Happy Black Friday. I guess it counts as a holiday. So happy Football Friday. This is the first. We just wrapped up an NFL game. I'm pretty pleased with the results. And you may or may not be pleased with the fantasy results. Chris, I know you weren't as pleased because there were some tilting results here, the way that game ended. It all depends which roster you got. The good news is I know you have about 12 other fantasy teams, so
Right.
you can't be too mad, right?
No, I mean, I was against Mostert in one league. I have Mostert in another league. I'm sure I was against Garrett Wilson in some leagues. I mean, I have Tyreek Hill. It is what it is. But I think today was definitely Black Friday in the sense that watching the Jets offense is just a pit of blackness. It's just a pit of despair and blackness. And you just hope it ends. You just wait. Like, that's all I was doing the whole game. I was just like, can we just end? Like, Robert Saleh calling timeouts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't like you anymore, Robert Saleh. Why are you subjecting me to more of this?
Yeah, like let's not pretend there's still a chance here. Um, yeah, so we'll break down the games, and there was of course 3 games yesterday, and then a game on Friday. It's going to be weird. We're going to have to wait a whole day without NFL football before we get back to it on Sunday. So I know some of you had players already in your lineups go, and we'll talk about the rest because hopefully you didn't have too many players already going. But we're going to answer your start sit questions and help you get ready for week 12 because it's getting to crunch time. It's almost fantasy playoffs. I guess let's work backwards since we just finished a game, Dolphins Jets. Talk about what happened. Yeah, so Tim Boyle is not the answer. Surprised?
Shocked face. What's that? Like, this is my shocked face.
Yeah.
Tim Boyle's not the answer, and it's not Trevor Siemian. If they decide, don't get all excited for Trevor Siemian next week when they go to Trevor Siemian. There is no answer. There is no answer. And you know what I was thinking? Like watching the Jets game, and like, look, if you started Garrett Wilson, hey, hats off to you. You rolled the dice. You basically you said, hey, I got like a, less than a 50% chance, but I'm rolling with it, and it happened. But like you watch the Jets, and like it feels like if you have like Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, maybe Tyler Conklin. I mean, I don't think anybody like maybe he's the only like there's nobody else even startable on the Jets, right? Like if you have one of those guys, you get one chance a game, the whole game for your guy to score a touchdown, and you have to hope it happens. That one chance you get, like Garrett Wilson had, like if they were at the 1 yard line, it was like okay, either Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall has one chance to score here. And like you get one chance the whole game. Like they never even sniff the end zone. This isn't real. This isn't real. This can't be real.
It really makes me wonder. I was thinking about this after today. If Aaron Rodgers had never got hurt and he was there the entire season, like how obviously it would be different, but how good really do we think this Jets offense would have been? Like, is that the only problem with this offense? Is that the quarterback is no good? Yeah, we know those quarterbacks aren't good, but how good really would this offense have been? And I think this because look, how good was the Green Bay Packers offense last year?
Right.
And I'm being serious. I'm not just trying to find something wrong with Aaron Rodgers or whatever, but Aaron Rodgers wasn't fantasy startable last year, and that Packers offense wasn't great. In fact, I was thinking of this, and I went back and looked up. They were very middle of the pack. They were 14th in terms of total offense, 27 touchdowns. Nothing great. And with this Jets offensive line and with these receivers like Garrett Wilson, and then what? Like, I don't think this offense would have been that good of an offense. Like the only good thing is that he would have been able to just be a game manager, right? He wouldn't have had to throw the ball a lot because the defense is good and the running game. But anyways, I don't know. People are going to go about, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. I don't think it would have made that big a difference. That's just me.
I mean, it would. Yeah, I don't think it would have been like one of the best offenses. No, but he would have at least. Because really, with this defense, all they really need is somebody not to turn the ball over repeatedly and sustain some drives, right? Just sustain some drives. Keep the defense off the field for a little bit. Let them rest. They don't have anybody that can do that right now. I mean, it's crazy to say, but there's no way you can tell me Zach Wilson isn't the best QB on this team right now. He's literally the best QB on this team, and that's crazy. But Zach Wilson is the best QB on this team. He really is.
Yeah.
Sadly, he is.
because they got nobody else. I think they had to do something. Sally had to do something different just so that the players didn't, revolt and, there wasn't a mutiny. Just so he could say he tried something different. And they can say, well, look, there it is. You saw it. Yeah. So I don't think he's the problem either. I think the coach would be fine if he had a quarterback. So, but that's crazy you say that. It is true. So far, if I'm correct, my math holds up. They have a total of 10 offensive touchdowns, a total of 10 touchdowns in 11 games. That is insane.
Like, you literally, if you have Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson, you get one chance a game and you just pray it happens. That's it. That's really what, every time you put one of these guys in your lineups, you are like saying, I am taking the chance that the one time they actually have a chance to score, it's my guy. It's my guy. And some weeks it will be, and some weeks it won't.
Got lucky. Garrett Wilson, kind of a garbagey touchdown, but oh well. You played him, got it. All right. I'll say it's garbage. Don't tell Sally. He thought that the game was still in. The Dolphins just kind of did what they had to do. But Waddle, I know he didn't score a touchdown, so it wasn't a huge game, but he did come through with yardage. He was startable, so he had a good game. So you're vindicated on that. You felt Waddle could go off, and he kind of did. I mean, go off. We still want that big game, that big touchdown. He didn't. He did go over 100 yards at least and 8 catches. So does this make you feel good about him going forward, or you think it was just a matchup?
Yeah, I mean, the matchup definitely played into it for sure. It's still the Tyreek Hill show, and Tyreek Hill dropping that touchdown was pretty tilting too. But he made it up for it, caught a touchdown later. But as somebody who has Tua and told everybody I'm still starting Tua, I would have liked Tyreek Hill to catch that touchdown. That would have been nice, Tyreek. But anyways, I mean, he's still, look, this felt like a pretty good Waddle week because of the way the Jets cover, but also because the Jets saw Sauce Gardner. They were going to put a lot of attention on Tyreek Hill. There's not going to be a lot of matchups like this, so I think Waddle remains the guy he pretty much has been. Right, he's fine. You can start him, but this doesn't feel like we're going to ever get those huge Waddle games this year.
Yeah. But also that he looked healthy, and that's what I was wondering. Like, is there a reason? But he looked great this game, and you've got to feel good. I think you almost can't even think about benching Waddle next week because they get the Commanders, and so I don't even think I care. It's just you have to start Waddle next week.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Commanders. Your Commanders, not just. I mean, look, I don't think anybody should be surprised they got rocked, yesterday, but you did see that now. There's a change. Jack Del Rio is gone. New defensive coordinator. I don't know if it'll matter, but do you think this changes anything?
No. Like, you traded away your 2 best defensive players, and it's like, what do you think's going to happen? Your defense is going to get, like, it's going to light a fire under the defense, and they're going to get better? Like, no. Like, I mean, we've said all week, you got to start. Look, CD didn't have the huge game. Like, it's kind of shocking to me. Again, another tilting thing from this week so far for somebody who drafted a lot of CD and talked up CD. I mean, he's still very good. Like, he wasn't bad. But CD Lamb getting 9 targets against the Commanders and only doing what he did, and Dak missing him on that wide open, like a 65-yard touchdown to start the game. He's got like come on, Dak. Like, that was pretty tilting. But like, the Commanders are just bad. Just play everybody against the Commanders. Everybody. Play everybody against the Commanders.
Yeah, I mean, with the Dolphins playing him next week, you definitely want to roll all the Dolphins. Yes, Lamb still good, not great, but fine. Dak still great, like amazing. One of the best quarterbacks by far in fantasy. Looking like the top quarterback in fantasy. We'll see if he keeps that going. Doesn't get to face Washington every week, though. And what about Tony Pollard? 79 yards in the touchdown. This is Washington. 2 back-to-back games where he's done something, but also 2 back-to-back games against one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. So what does that mean?
I mean, it means he came through when he should have. That's it. He didn't have huge games. Like you said, 79 yards. But against the Panthers, he didn't really have a big 60-something yards, I think. Like, look, we saw it yesterday. And this is what I've been talking about with Dak. That's why, like, when, like, sometimes people, maybe they just won't have to throw it a lot in this. It doesn't. The Cowboys just throw it a lot. What did they do at the end of that game? They're destroying the Commanders. 3rd down, bomb to Turpin. Just a bomb to Turpin. Like, no, I don't care who they're. It doesn't matter the score. They're just gonna keep throwing the ball. They're just going to throw and throw and throw. That's going to be the issue for Tony Pollard. Like he got hit with some positive touchdown regression, which was nice, right? He scored each of the last 2 games, but like you said, these were about as good as it can get for him. He does have some good matchups, coming up. Miami, not one of them, but he's got some more good matchups coming. But yeah, I still don't feel like I'm back in on Tony Pollard all the way just because he had good games against horrible defenses.
Yeah, even the last 2 weeks he's scored, but he didn't have big yardage games. So 79 yards. He hasn't gotten a 100-yard game. So yeah, much tougher matchup next week in Seattle. Although Seattle didn't look very tough this week. Get to that game, not much to talk about there. San Francisco good. Seattle kind of reeling. You got to wonder if they're really meant to be a playoff team because they don't look like it, even though they're technically a playoff team. Anything that we even can take away from this game other than that Christian McCaffrey is really good and maybe Geno Smith is turning into a pumpkin?
Yeah, Geno Smith has been a pumpkin pretty much all year. He had that, I guess, good game against Commanders. You know what I mean? But he's pretty much been a pumpkin all year. I think. I mean, look, and it just is what it is. I mean, you can't feel great about this offense. They'll be fine for fantasy, I guess. But yeah, I don't think the Seahawks are real contenders. No.
No, there should be so much fantasy goodness on here, all these players they have, but I don't know. So Charbonnet did get, of course, most of the touches here in the backfield, but that's what I was worried about, just not worth starting because they were going to be running from behind. Sure enough, they were. Couldn't make big plays against this defense, so hopefully you didn't start Charbonnet unless you really needed to, but should be a little bit better next week, and it doesn't sound like Walker's going to be ready next week anyways. And then the last, which was actually the first game, Thursday, the most shocking, we actually had an upset.
Yes.
Detroit, for the second week in a row, coming out flat. Jared Goff just wants to keep giving the other team a chance. It's very nice of him. He's instead of interceptions, this time it was fumbles. So worried, not about Sun God, of course. Not really about the running backs. You're worried about this offense in general because of Jared Goff. You think he's cracking under the pressure.
No, I'm not really worried about the offense so much. I mean, because again, like Laporta had a nice game. Amon-Ra was fine. I mean, it was a lot of garbage time for Amon-Ra, but I mean, I guess it counts. In fantasy, it counts. Gibbs didn't quite have the game because, the offense was struggling and things, but not too worried about it. I think maybe, the worry, non-fantasy related, the worry here for Detroit is like, is Goff the guy that can win you that game? When you go against like the Eagles, the 49ers, like can Goff beat those teams? I really don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, look, he's been to the Super Bowl, but I don't know if he's a guy who's going to take this team to a Super Bowl. But in fantasy, I'll just say this. Look, the guys are still getting theirs, but it's been different because in the beginning of the season, it was always the first half. Detroit would jump ahead, right? And they put up numbers. And now the last 2 weeks, we've seen they fall behind because of turnovers. And then you're relying on this basically come from behind effort. So be interesting to see what happens going forward.
I will say one thing that does have an impact for fantasy and for the Lions is this secondary suddenly looks awful.
Awful. That's true. The defense.
Christian Watson looked like the guy we drafted this week.
Wow. Actually, we should talk about Watson. We should talk about him because now back-to-back weeks with a touchdown, getting targeted, and of course they had some injuries, but still, do we have to reluctantly kind of buy back into Watson?
I mean, if you want to, go ahead. I'm not, but if you want to, go for it.
No, you're still out.
I'm still out. I think. I mean, look, he's. Like I'm not the type to just buy back into guys after randomly having one good game against what now looks like a bad Lions defense all of a sudden. So I don't know. I mean, you want to pick him up, put him back on your bench, and see, okay, but I'd still be very like we've done this with Gabe Davis like 2 times this year already, right? Where it's like, oh, they used him differently. They used him differently this week, and then the next week they didn't use him differently, and he gets you nothing. So. yeah, I'm not ready to buy in on Watson. Like random, crazy, out of nowhere games happen. That's what this felt like to me.
Right. I mean, I know this is what everybody wants to believe, right? That he's back, he's the guy, it's whatever. And remember, no Aaron Jones. They're going to have to pass the ball more. Wicks was out, Musgrave out, and so I'm encouraged a little bit. What I'm more encouraged about now is the fact that Jordan Love just looks much better. He looks
True.
like the guy we saw early in the season, and there's not just one game last week. So, I had kind of scaled back my endorsement of Jordan Love this week because I was like, he's the guy you want to stream. And then I was like, okay, maybe not. And now I regret that. Should have been all in on Jordan Love. Had a good game. That's encouraging. But yeah, I'm not going to say you have to start Watson. But, next week, Kansas City, not the best spot for him. The week after that, New York Giants. Okay, I'll start him there. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
All right, a lot of football already has gone down. Good news is there's no buys this week, so we're going to get pretty much a full slate on Sunday coming up. And there's also good news. Now, if you didn't take advantage or get a chance to win part of that airdrop, the Turkey Day 300K, where they're just giving out money left and right, it's okay. I was not one of the winners, and I'm okay with that because we get rewarded in other ways. But yeah, I did win one of my pick'ems at least. But you can still sign up for Underdog for the first time and take advantage of the new customer special for this week. It won't be 300K, but you get a free pick'em, and that's Lamar Jackson going higher than 0.5 total yards. If you take that pick, you take Lamar Jackson going higher. You get to pair that with any other pick, and you can triple your money, whatever you wager on. And you can combine that with all sorts of other picks. And remember, there's also NBA, NHL, college football, which is going on right now. We have some games today and then, of course, tomorrow. So, yeah, check it out. If you haven't done Underdog yet, this is still a good time to do that. They're going to have some other specials coming up. You know this, right? So sign up. Check it out now, Underdog Fantasy. And people have been asking because Friday we had been doing drafts. We'll see how today goes. We may do another draft for this week, but we do want to answer your questions first. So let's make sure we do that. All right, let's get to Jordan Olson. Happy Thanksgiving, or happy Black Friday, I guess. Happy late Thanksgiving. All right, so has Kittle at tight end and Njoku as a flex. Interesting. Okay, before we think about that, who do I use as my wide receiver 2 under Mike Evans? D-Hop, Downs, or Shaheed?
Well, I think you definitely got to play Mike Evans out of this group. I might go Josh Downs over Njoku.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Are you sure you want to flex Njoku? I don't think you said this is tight end. Well, hold on. 12. Okay, it's a 12-man league, full PPR. Okay, it's 5-6, needs a win, but nothing about tight end premium. Okay, yeah, Mike Evans, I think is his wide receiver 1, so we need to pick one of those guys, and then you're saying you're going to pick another instead of Njoku?
Well, no, because he's saying right now he has Kittle. He played Kittle at tight end, and he's flexing Njoku. So then he's saying, who do I use as my wide receiver 2? Well, I think it's Evans as your wide receiver 2, but I'm thinking I might flex Josh Downs over Njoku.
Well, the way he says it here, he says under Mike Evans. I think he means Mike Evans is his wide receiver 1. He's asking who to put as the wide receiver 2. Because I think I remember this team, right? Jordan's been, chatting a lot the last few games, last few weeks. I think Mike Evans is his number 1 receiver.
I see. Okay, well, then I go Josh Downs at the wide receiver 2. And now it's like, do I flex? I mean, look, Shaheed has more upside than Njoku.
Not even considering Hopkins?
Against the Panthers?
That's a no. I like Downs. I know I like Downs. So I would say Downs as the number 2. It's just Njoku, Shaheed, D-Hop.
Njoku feels very safe this week. Like, it's a great matchup. I mean, it's a fantastic matchup against the Broncos, but it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Will he catch it? Like, again, like the Browns kind of feel similar to the Jets right now. Maybe you get 2 chances a game for your guy to score a touchdown, right? Like maybe they get near the goal line twice. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe. But I think he has a very high floor, assuming it's PPR. But I might just gamble on Shaheed. No Mike Thomas. Shaheed out of the slot going against the Falcons, you got AJ Terrell, but he's not going to cover Shaheed. So I don't know. I might gamble on Shaheed over Njoku.
Yeah, I think the number 2 is going to be Downs. I mean, yeah, you're 5-6. You need to win. I would go for a higher upside than Njoku. So it's between Shaheed or D-Hop. I might go D-Hop. I guess I have a little bit more confidence in him, but I think Shaheed is fine too. Either way, I don't think Njoku just has the ceiling. Just we're looking for touchdown upside too, right? I just don't know if Njoku has that. All right. And then good luck, Jordan. Joe Castles. Week 13, the Bucks are playing the Panthers and the Falcons are playing Jets. We're looking ahead to a defense for next week.
I mean, it's got to be the one playing the Jets. I mean, look, Bucks against Falcons. I mean, against Panthers, that's fine too. But I mean, the Jets, like, it literally took a Darrington Evans fumble with 6 minutes to go for the Jets to even sniff a touchdown. Right? Because he fumbled on like the 30-yard line. Like, he gave him, like, here you go, have the ball at the 30. And then the other thing is the Dolphins were just like trying to time the snap, so they kept getting these offside penalties. So it would be like 3rd down, incomplete pass. Oh wait, never mind, offside, 1st down. Oh yeah, we get to keep moving the ball. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I think you got to just stream a defense against the Jets. Like even if it's Zach Wilson, are you scared? I'm going.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, both offenses are horrible, but I would go with the one going against the Jets. I think I agree with. Looking ahead. All right, Joe. It never hurts. I'm on Eileen. Needs to flex between Warren, Cook, Kirk, or Kyron. Wow.
Assuming PPR, I got to go Kirk. I'm actually coming around a little more on Kirk than I was earlier in the week as I've looked into it, because the Texans are vulnerable from the slot, and they have 2 good outside corners. So I'm starting to feel like this could be a Kirk week and not a Ridley week. So I think if it's PPR, I'm going Kirk. If it's non-PPR, maybe I go Warren and Kyron are actually pretty close for me. But I might just go Warren since he's not coming off an injury. He's getting the Bengals, but any kind of PPR, give me Kirk.
Yeah, I'm going to put it's got to be either Kirk or Kyron for me, but eliminate the risk. Just go Kirk. It's the Titans secondary. They haven't been as bad lately to wide receivers, but they're still not good. So Kirk is still a guy, even though he didn't have a great game last week. For the most part, he's a guy you just kind of set and don't worry about. All right. Sorry, apologies. Sven Dragon. Not loving Black Friday today. Played Hall. The opponent had Miami's defense. It happens.
I mean, if it makes me feel better, in my home league, I went against Christian McCaffrey, Raheem Mostert, and the Miami defense.
It happens. Hey, the week is still young. Still plenty of games to be played.
Well, I had CeeDee Lamb and the Lions kicker.
The Lions kicker?
Yeah, in the dome. Against Packers. They're favored. Isn't that what all the kicker gurus who know how to predict kickers say? Oh, they're in a dome and they're favored and they're at home.
And he had 0 points.
0 points. Yeah, 0 points. Because you can't predict kickers. You cannot. It's random.
How does a kicker get 0 points when the team scores 22?
Because the Lions fall way behind.
He missed his first kick.
He missed his extra point, and then they fell so far behind they never even tried to extra point the rest of the game. They just kept going for 2. And, of course, they couldn't kick field goals because they were way behind. But I'm sure everybody predicted the Lions getting blown out at home to the Packers and said, look, I'm probably the idiot who doesn't know anything about kickers. Everybody else probably said, like, that was probably a terrible start. I don't know. Maybe starting.
No, I don't think that was a terrible start. It's just terrible luck. Hey, it happens. Fragile
Terrible playing with
1976.
kickers is what's terrible.
Yeah, having kickers is terrible.
Yes.
What do you think about this? Puka, Bijan, or DJ Moore?
Ooh.
All good.
PPR, I think I got to go DJ Moore. I got to go DJ Moore in PPR against
This
the
is a
Vikings.
Flex. Who are your other two running backs? You're flexing Bijan.
Right? Yeah, it's hard not to flex. It's hard for me not to flex Bijan, but I think I got to go DJ Moore. He just has the upside this week. I'm going DJ Moore.
Which Frank fan is asking, predicting a big game for DJ Moore and Fields this week.
Yes, we are. Against the Vikings?
You are.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Vikings defense, not scaring me. All right, Trent and Jesse just traded Kyler and Ayuk for Jacobs and Diggs in a 2 QB wide receiver running back flex league. Kyler was my 3rd/4th QB. Ayuk was my wide receiver 2. So it's a 2 QB league.
Ooh.
Kyler and Ayuk for Jacobs and Diggs if Kyler wasn't a starter.
But even still, you like having that QB depth. I don't know who your other QBs are. I assume since you're trading Kyler, you must feel pretty good about your other QBs. Like I definitely prefer Diggs to Ayuk. I mean, I guess it's okay. Like I guess, yeah, I guess if you felt like you're good enough at QB, I would hate to trade away, Kyler and Ayuk. But at least you got the wide receiver upgrade. We'll see about Jacobs, but I'm just gonna assume that you're very strong at QB. Maybe you have like Dak Prescott, I don't know, and 2 other really good. Maybe you have Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, and somebody else that's really good, and you're like, well, whatever, I can part with Kyler. I don't know.
Yeah, in a vacuum, just looking at this trade in a 2 QB league, I think you'd probably prefer the Kyler side. But if you're saying you're really not starting him, and obviously this helps you at receiver a little bit, and if this helps you at running back a lot, I mean, I'm okay with anything that helps your starting roster before the playoffs. So I think it's okay as long as this really strengthens your starting lineup. What do you think about this? Skibbity was offered Tyreek and Pittman for CD and Jettis.
Ooh, that's
a blockbuster.
I'm going to assume since Tyreek and CD have already played, this trade won't process until next week. Which means you're only really getting 1 game of Pittman without Jefferson. But would I have Jefferson that much higher than Pittman rest of the season with Dobbs and this? I don't know. I might take Tyreek and Pittman.
I think having Tyreek, although, like, again, you look at the last month, like CD's done just as good. But I think don't the Cowboys have a tougher schedule rest of the season than the Dolphins, or am I wrong? Is it the opposite?
It's the opposite. Yeah. Oh. The Dallas Cowboys, let me see. They get the Seahawks next week. Giddy up. They get the Eagles, and that's in Dallas, which not a good pass defense. Then they get the Bills, not a good pass defense. Then they get the Dolphins, and then they finish with the Lions, which now look like not a good pass defense. Yeah, none of those matchups scare me.
Nothing scary. It's too bad that last Washington game doesn't come earlier, huh?
Yeah, they get Washington, but it's in week 18. That would be sweet if it was in week 17. But like they get Seahawks at home on Thursday night, so they play back-to-back Thursday games. That's interesting. Then they get Eagles at home, Bills on the road. But I mean, come on, Bills defense. Then they get Dolphins on the road. I'm not worried about Dolphins. And look, the Dolphins sadly just lost Jalen Phillips for the year, so that's a big blow.
That hurts.
Yeah, that hurts. And then they get Lions at home to finish. Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all.
It seems pretty close.
But I'm not worried about Tyreek. Like CeeDee Lamb and Tyreek Hill are not guys I even worry about who they're playing. I don't even care. These guys are so good.
Right. No. I'm trying to think of like a tiebreaker here or something. I guess the question is, Pittman and Jettis, is that a big difference or not? You're thinking it's kind of close?
Yeah, only because Josh Dobbs, and we don't know. I know Josh Dobbs has been better than expected, but he's not Kirk Cousins.
No.
And look, I still have to prefer Tyreek to CeeDee Lamb, so I might just take the Tyreek and Pittman side. But it is close.
Yeah, it's very close. Yeah, maybe having Tyreek is the difference here. Could go either way. Trone Force, Pitts or Likely?
Just can I really put Isaiah Likely over Pitts? I think I might have to. I mean, they could both be bad. But at least Likely gets the Chargers, and he has Lamar Jackson and not Desmond Ridder and Arthur Smith. So I'll go Likely.
Take the known mediocrity or take a chance on something happening. I would just take a chance and hope Likely does something, because we know what the upside is with Pitts. It's not that much.
No.
It's not a great spot for him. It's not like, well, they get to play the Broncos or something. No, it's actually a really tough defense in general, especially against tight ends. So I'm going to say no to Pitts. I'll go. Might as well take a chance on Likely. All right, now you mentioned Josh Dobbs. Rahul Ramesh wants to know, is he a viable streamer this week?
Yeah, he's all right. He's not my favorite or anything, but he's fine. He's at home. It's the Bears. Bears have been better on defense, but he should be okay.
It's fine. I mean, he's not getting Jefferson back, but he's always viable because he'll run.
Yeah.
He's not my favorite streamer either, but sure, it just depends on your other options. And then Cup, Hollywood, or Cook at the flex.
Well, man, you got to be very nervous for Hollywood dealing with some kind of heel injury. Hasn't practiced all week.
Yep.
And then James Cook. I mean, it's not a good spot for James Cook. Cup is playing. Sean McVay said he's already playing. He's a full practice today. You got to go Cup and hope for the best.
Yeah, and today we just heard they said, yeah, Cup is going to play or expected to play. Let's go Cup. And remember I kept saying, like, there's something wrong with Hollywood. It doesn't look right. And sure enough, now they're saying there's a heel injury. You could tell he wasn't going full speed. I mean, I'm glad I know that at least there was something physically wrong, because you could tell he didn't look right last week. Yeah, so fire up Greg Dortch. No, go Cooper Kupp. In this case, go Cooper Kupp.
Yes. I'm
not saying Dortch over Cooper Kupp. Don't go Dortch over Cooper Kupp. All right. Let's see. Let's get some others. We haven't gone here. Kenny Ta. Would you start Singletary, Spears, Rashee Rice, or Demario Douglas at the flex?
Well, if it's PPR, I'm going Pop. Although, look, we're hearing some. What is? Has Bill Belichick completely lost it?
Probably.
No, I'm being serious. Like, the latest report we've heard is that Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi have been splitting first team reps. None of the players know who's going to be the quarterback yet. Like,
because that helps how? Exactly.
Like what? Like how does that help your team? Like, the guys don't know, I don't know. But but that being said, I still like Demario Douglas this week. It's a great matchup against the Giants. If it's PPR, I like Demario Douglas, I should say. If it's PPR. Rashee Rice, he's okay. Spears, no. I know it's the Panthers, but this doesn't feel like a game where Spears is going to be needed a lot. Singletary in a tough match, and Dameon Pierce is back, and Ryan's kind of been saying, like, yeah, we're going to go back to a split. So I'm going Douglas.
Yeah, I talked about this with Rashee Rice. If you saw in the Beat the Breakout video, talk about Justin Watson, is that a one-off game? Or, we've been talking about Rashee Rice he's kind of plateaued. in terms of his involvement. His target share. He hasn't been doing anything great. Spears barely touches the ball. It should be Singletary. But if Pierce is going to be back and they're 50-50 and not a great matchup like last week, just go Douglas. Big Luscious, last week of trades. Okay, so before the deadline, he said he just traded away Devontae Adams and Charbonnet for Eckler. You down with that?
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. I mean, Charbonnet, like, okay, sure, you threw him in. Like, maybe somebody gets another week without Kenneth Walker, maybe one more week. But look at the Seahawks. I mean, he's got to play Dallas on the road next week on a short week. No, thank you. And then they play after that. I mean, Seahawks have a brutal remaining. Then the 49ers again. And you got to go back and play the Like, you're not even going to want to start him the next two games. It's unfortunate that Charbonnet is finally getting his chance, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if you have to start him, you can, but you really don't want to, because like Seahawks on a short week again. Well, I guess it's a long week for them because they just played on Thursday. But Seahawks going into Dallas, you want to start Charbonnet, you're going to feel good about that. And then going into San Francisco, nah. And then Kenneth Walker's probably back. It's like, yeah, like it's unfortunate that he finally is getting his chance, and this is what he gets. But it is what it is. So, yeah, this basically for me is like Adams for Eckler, and I'm taking Eckler still.
Yeah, this feels like the perfect. This is why I say, like, you have to pick up a guy like Charbonnet, but you don't have to start him. But you pick him up for this reason, because trade bait. And a lot of people, their deadline is not over yet. So I think this is a good example of how to use a player like this for leverage. So, yeah, I'm definitely taking Eckler's side here. And then before we get to the next super chat, some people just some early celebrations. I know the game is not over, but right. Thomas is happy because he started Waddle, Sun God, Cooks, and Miami defense.
Wow.
DC Hogs dropped the Jets from Miami just today, or just yesterday, I should say.
Nice.
Very nice. And nice. I think this one's fine. Filzy needs a big day for Fields. Think you'll get it. Sitting Goff, you don't look like you regret that now at all, do you?
Yeah, I hope you're not regretting sitting Goff. Like, what did he get? 16 points or something? 17 points? Unless you're in, like, my cousin, which he might be watching. What's up, Steven? If you're watching, I saw him at Thanksgiving yesterday. Somehow Jared Goff got 32 fantasy points in his league, and I was like, what? Because even in my 6 point,
he did wind up with yardage.
Yeah, but he fumbled 3 times, and he only had like 2 touchdowns. But even in my 6 point passing touchdown league, I think he only had like 22.
Yeah, it depends. It's interesting. Some leagues, they penalize for interceptions, but that's it. So if your league doesn't penalize for fumbles for quarterbacks, well, then I guess you got lucky. But he turned it over, and he did wind up with good yardage at the end. But
in your standard,
he'll be happy with Fields.
Yeah, in a standard 4-point passing touchdown, he got 18. Even with 330 yards and 2 touchdowns, he's still got 18. So I don't know how he got 32, unless my cousin, maybe my cousin's league has like a bonus for 300 yards. Probably has a bonus for like 300 yards or something.
Yeah, well, quarterback scoring is a little different from league to league, but I don't think he'll regret sitting Goff.
No, I think Fields can get you at least 18.
All right, JK. Need to flex between Najee, Gus, Pickens, or London.
Spider-Man memes. All the same guy.
Yeah, except Gus has been scoring touchdowns.
I know. I think I probably got to go Gus actually here. Good matchup for him against the Chargers, like I said. I like Najee this week, but if he doesn't score, I mean, if Gus doesn't score, what do you get? You're not really getting a lot either, but he keeps scoring. Pickens, I'm not ready to buy into Pickens just because they fired Canada. It actually is a good spot for London this week with Marshawn Lattimore out, but man, it's still the Falcons and Drake London and Desmond Ridder, so maybe just keep rolling with Gus.
Might as well keep going with Gus. I mean, he's going to at least give you some points. This matchup almost doesn't matter with him, but this matchup is definitely a good one for a running back. So just go Gus. Trone, not a Dak fan, I guess. Saying that he'll turn to pumpkin when they play even an average team. Ouch. I mean, he put up numbers even against the Eagles, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm not worried about Dak. I mean, he might turn into a pumpkin in the playoffs, and then everybody will be like, Dak sucks. But for fantasy, I don't care. I'm not a Cowboys fan.
And we have some. No, I'm not either. Like, he's putting up numbers in fantasy. You have him, you're happy.
Yes.
And then we have a couple of Seahawks fans. Back when we were talking to this game, Thomas was at the game. Well, I would say that's nice, except if you're a Seahawks fan, it wasn't nice.
Right.
Mary Jo, not a believer here as a Seahawk fan. She's saying they are toast. Well, you might be right.
Yeah.
And definitely not a fan here. Test dropped Metcalf and Lockett. Wow. All right. I mean,
wow. All right.
I wouldn't do that, but
you rage dropped them after that game?
That feels like a rage drop to me. All right. Alex B is a Steelers fan, but so he wants to know, do you go, oh, he needs two of these guys. Okay. Well, I feel one of them can be a Steeler. Pacheco, Warren, and Gus.
I think we might disagree here, but I'm going Pacheco and Warren. I like Pacheco's matchup a lot this week. I think Warren's been too good to bench. I know Gus has been good too. Gus is fine. I like Pacheco and Warren this week personally.
Well, I agree with you that we're going to disagree because I'm going to go Warren and Gus. Look, I feel like Pacheco and Gus aren't that different, even though they look physically very different and they're in very different offenses. I think statistically they're very similar. They don't catch passes. Pacheco's not a pass catching running back, right? He's just not asked to catch passes.
Right.
Not like he can. That's not how this. Mahomes is not a guy who dumps it down to the running back. That's just not this offense. I like the matchup better for Gus. It's the Chargers. Chargers run defense. So I like Warren and I'll go Gus. I mean, it's pretty close. You can start Pacheco, but I feel like Gus it's just a little more solid. And he's rooting for the Steelers. Well, we're all Steelers fans this week because Canada's gone.
Well,
all right.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of. Sandy, higher ceiling this week. Taysom Hill or Rashid Shaheed? Thank you for your Taysom Hill question.
I gotta say Rashid Shaheed. He's got that home run potential. No Michael Thomas. AJ Terrell probably going to be, on Chris Olave a lot. I think Shaheed could have a nice game. I mean, I really wished it was Jameis Winston, but it looks like it's going to be Derek Carr. But I still like Shaheed. I'm going to go Shaheed for higher ceiling.
What will be interesting to see is, because I've talked to A.T. Perry a little bit, is because A.T. Perry didn't just catch a random touchdown. He did. It was his first catch of the season, right? He hadn't been involved at all. He's going to have to be on the field, but he was also on the field more than every other receiver in terms of snap count last game. He's going to be out there, so it's interesting to see, is Rashid Shaheed getting a bump in targets with Michael Thomas out? Or is he just the same guy and all of a sudden A.T. Perry inherits those targets? Or just Olave gets more targets? Or is it Taysom Hill gets more targets? Because that wouldn't shock us at this point. I don't know. But I think I'd rather take a chance on Shaheed, because with Shaheed isn't really just a one-trick pony. All we know about is that he goes deep and catches 50-yard touchdowns every once in a while. But he actually works a lot out of the slot too.
Yes.
He's like, what is it? Like 40, 60, something like that in terms of slot versus wide. I think it's something like that.
Yeah, he's their slot guy.
Yeah, and Michael Thomas was the same. Michael Thomas was pretty much even split. So, and A.T. Perry will not work out of the slot. He just won't. He's an X. He's a guy who'll be on the outside. So I feel like I'd rather take the floor with the Shaheed, take a chance on the big play from Shaheed, and not stress myself over Taysom Hill. Which, of course, you know what this means. It's going to be a Taysom Hill.
Big Taysom.
The rule of Taysom. All right, we have Vaibhav Mutahi. Should I play Josh Downs instead of Kupp?
I like Josh Downs this week. He's the cover child for the sneaky starts tomorrow. But I'm not playing him over Kupp. If Kupp plays, I'm playing Kupp.
Right. Well, now that we know that Kupp is going to play, and it's already pretty much decided, and it's not a game time decision, I feel good enough that it's not a significant injury. It's not like Downs is a sure bet. I like Downs,
Right.
but not over Cup. You got to go Cup. And then Henry Odom. What is up, Henry? Fields or Murray?
Fields. Oh, Fields. I expect a big Fields game this week. Give me Fields.
Yeah, got to go Fields. And then, actually, let me just say this real quick. I thought it might be a big Murray week last week, and he was fine, but not great. And now he's got more injuries at receiver. I'm not gonna say you can play Murray, but I'm definitely down on him. And then Cook or Jacobs. I think it has to be Jacobs.
Has to be Jacobs. Getting the volume. Yeah, Jacobs.
Yeah. And then Big Luscious, ready for the playoffs. All right, we're just gonna make the playoffs first, 6-5. All right, any improvements to this lineup? I mean, obviously you already played Pollard, Tyreek.
They had a good start with Tyreek and Pollard. Hopefully you play Laporta, but if you didn't, you have McBride. I think he'll be great. I mean, especially if Hollywood's limited against the Rams, I think McBride can be great. I mean, this looks solid. Tyreek, Diggs, and Kirk, Eckler and Pollard, Josh Allen, Laporta and McBride. I mean, this looks pretty solid. I think you're ready to make a run. Cowboys defense. How many points did the Cowboys defense get yesterday? 20?
That's a good point. Got another pick 6 from Bland. He's going to do this every other game, I guess. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't love Rice as in the starting lineup, but it's not the worst pick. At least he gets you some points, assuming he's your flex. So I don't know what else you can do. I don't know if you got your trade deadline is passed, but I think
this team looks great. This team looks ready. This team looks ready to me.
Speaking of the Cowboys, the first name that comes to mind, of course, is Rico. Rico did score. He did take advantage of the touchdown. He wants to make sure we understand it was not in garbage time.
It was not. It was the first touchdown of the game.
There you go. All right. But are we worried about Breece? Yeah, kind of.
You have to be. I mean, look, he's saving it with these little dump offs, right? Like I said this in our Discord last week. He's Rachaad White. How do you feel about? I mean, he's Rachaad White, but on a worse offense somehow. Somehow he's on a worse offense than Rachaad White because the Bucs actually score touchdowns and get near the goal line and give Rachaad White more than one chance. Like he doesn't just get one chance a game. Like this is it. You get one chance. He's Rachaad White on a worse offense. I mean, last year, because whenever I say something negative about a player, people think I hate that player, which is not true. Last year, I was the biggest Breece Hall truther. I told everybody, I ranked Breece Hall inside my top 10 running backs, and I said I probably should have him inside my top 5, but I'm not gutsy enough to do it. Watching that, this is the first time I've watched a full Jets game, thankfully. I hope I don't have to do it ever again this year. That was horrible. Breece Hall doesn't even look explosive. He doesn't look like he's even running hard. He really doesn't. You know what Breece Hall looks like to me? A running back coming back from ACL still. That's what he looks like to me. A running back still coming back from ACL. Even when he had that 11-yard run where he turned the corner, he didn't look like the Jets fired up for him. Like Breece Hall is fast, fast. And he does not look fast right now. And the other thing is obviously what's not helping is the other team knows we don't have to worry about the pass. We don't literally what's shocking to me about defenses against the Jets is it feels like all you have to do is either stop the run and then when they throw the pass, just have just double team Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. You don't even have to cover the other guys because the QB can't complete a pass to anybody else. They can't throw it down the field. Just don't let them have the little easy dump offs to Breece Hall. And this offense, you will win the game without even trying. So you have to be worried. You have to be worried because A, he doesn't look like, a fully healthy Breece Hall yet to me. And B, he's in the worst offense in the NFL. I don't even think we can argue that. What offense is maybe the Panthers? Maybe the Panthers?
Giants. Maybe the Giants.
Giants. Okay, the Giants, the Tommy DeVito-led Giants, yes. But I would argue when they get Tyrod Taylor back, they're going to be better than the Jets offensively.
Yeah. No, they would be. They should be.
I mean, but at least like when you watch Saquon, like Saquon rips off long runs. Saquon looks explosive because he's now a couple years
Right.
removed from that ACL. So you've got to be worried about Breece. You have to. You have to.
Yeah, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for something because I didn't trade for Breece Hall. There was one point. It was after week 7, 8, one of those weeks, right? He had a big game. I was like, oh, it looks like he might be back. This might be a chance. Buy low, and I didn't pull the trigger. So let me see it. And since then, he somehow just has gotten significantly worse. But it's not just him. Running back is so context dependent in terms of the offense. Yeah, the game script matters, right? The quarterback affects the running back more than people realize. Yeah, it's just not a good rushing offense to be in. So you don't want to rely on a guy like that. So worried about Breece? Yes, you have to be. With that said, he wants to know at the flex, who should he start? Shakir, Likely, or Bateman, or go with Chandler?
Man, should have gone with Rico. Should have played Rico.
I guess so. Shakir, and hope he gets a long touchdown.
Like what he like he did last week, where he catches it, runs for 60 yards. Who do the Bills play this week? I don't feel like.
I think it's the Eagles.
Oh man. I mean, I want to say Bateman, but
Eagles on the road, but then I mean, really, Likely or Bateman? Yeah.
No, Bateman does get the Chargers though. I guess Shakir. I don't know. This is brutal. This is brutal, Rico.
Or Chandler.
Yeah, but Chandler. I mean, I liked him last week because
of the matchup.
Yeah, that was the Broncos. This is. I mean, the Bears. They're not like a shutdown defense, but they've gotten better. They've gotten better. So. Yeah. I guess Shakir and hope for the best.
I would just go Shakir, I guess. All right, Kevin, enjoying his day. Started to, but you got Mostert. That's good. Tyreek Hill is always good. Dolphins defense and Javon Holland. Crazy enough, the IDP. That was a crazy play.
That was like.
That was insane. That's
Hail Mary.
Jets.
Did they even try to tackle
him? Sort of.
I mean, was anybody even running hard to try to tackle him on that play? I think the only guy who actually tried.
No, probably not.
No, the only guy who actually tried was Tim Boyle, and it's like, okay, he had no chance. Like, come on, he had no chance.
That was because you knew it was going to end badly. So you just see it because I'm a Dolphins fan, so I enjoyed it. You saw it coming. He was running, and then he went, and then you saw Tim Boyle like break his own ankles.
Once Tim Boyle was the only guy he had to beat, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna score. He's actually gonna score. Like, it did not look. I don't think the Jets even like ran after him. I think they were just like fed up at that point. They're just like, whatever. We're like, how are we on this team right now?
I'm sure it's happened before, but when was the last time you saw a last second Hail Mary pick six? That was.
I don't even remember. And the worst part about it was like, I mean, he had the arm strength to get it down there, but all the Jets players were like over here, and the ball was like over here. You know what I mean? So like, it wasn't like everybody jumping. It was like, it just laid, like the guy just went, oh, hey, like it came right to me. Oh, brutal.
That's got to feel good to play that guy in an IDP league, and you see that happen. Yeah. All right. Awesome. That's good, Kevin. That's what you get for starting Dolphins. Thomas played St. Brown, Cooks, Waddle, and got 76 points, including the Miami defense. That feels good when you roll into the weekend already crushing.
Yep, that feels great.
All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. Okay, so following up here, Rico wants to know. I'm sorry, Phil, the Rico guy, wants to know. Okay, what can he get for Breece Hall? Because the trade deadline is not until next week for him. What's realistic?
I mean, what do you? Michael Pittman, depending on what he does this week, unless he goes off. Maybe maybe Devonta Smith if he doesn't have a big game.
I'd be glad to get those guys for Breece Hall right now.
Yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson.
That's just too much aggravation.
That was a joke.
Uh,
Maybe
maybe
Christian
Olave,
Kirk.
a guy like Olave, because people have short-term memories. Like, what? Hey, what did Chris Olave do for you last week? Nothing. Because he
Yeah,
didn't play.
true.
Somebody like that. Now this is Nico Santoso. Would you start Olave or Warren or Addison?
Well, I was thinking Waddle. I'm going Olave. I think he's a tier above these guys. I do like Warren this week, but we can't ignore the fact that he's still splitting with Najee Harris. It's still the Steelers' offense. I like Warren this week. I think he'll be good, but I can't put him ahead of a guy like Olave. So I'm going Olave.
Yeah, I like Warren, but Olave is higher ceiling. Not that Michael Thomas being out makes that big a difference, but he knows he's going to have to rely on Olave a little bit more. Yeah, Olave is always a guy who has a ceiling, so go Olave. Mark Evans. Pick one in half PPR. Cook, Kincaid, Cooper, Herbert, Downs.
I mean, it can't be Cooper. I'm not feeling a big James Cook week. I do like Kincaid, but I can't flex a tight end. Herbert,
It is half PPR for whatever that's worth.
I think I'm still going Downs. Like it's not like Downs has just been like some low ADOT guy. He's had some shots down the field. He picks up yards after the catch. It's a great matchup against this Bucs secondary. I think in half PPR, I'm going Downs out of these guys.
I haven't checked, and again, teams aren't giving as much information as usual because of the week. But if Downs is a full go, I like Downs a lot.
He is not even on the injury report.
There you go. He was really, really productive, and then he got the knee injury, and he missed the game, and then he came back and immediately left the game, and then they had a bye, and so Downs has done nothing. But that's the only reason why. He's back. He's healthy. He's good, but also it's the Bucs defense. So I'm going Downs almost certainly here. All right, John B. Warren, Thielen, or Puka?
Well, here I'm going Puka. Thielen, I will say, I think Thielen has a high floor this week because it is a good matchup against the Titans. So if you want to just take the high floor, I think Thielen is the play. But I like Puka this week. Even with cutback, I still like Puka. I'm going Puka.
Yeah, in full PPR, I feel pretty good about Warren these days, but in full PPR with these receivers, I feel like you have to go with one of the receivers. Even with cutback, I think against Arizona, it's got to be Puka. Better chance to score a touchdown because, Panthers. Now, what about this? Matt wants to know, is Jaden Reed looking like a weekly flex from this point on?
Yeah, I think flex is okay. I mean, obviously, it's going to be matchup dependent. It's the Chiefs next week. That's on the road. That's not a great spot. But he looks good. Like I keep saying, I think he's legit the best receiver on this team. But I think he'll be a little matchup dependent. But yeah, I think he's certainly flex worthy for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it that way. A weekly flex, sure. Is he a must start? No. He did benefit a little bit too. They've had some injuries here and there. Wicks might be back next week. That's not a big difference, just Jordan Love being better, actually being not bad. That's the big difference here. And look, Aaron Jones being out, that is huge because they can't just give the ball to him and also dump it off to him. They're going to have to throw the ball down the field more. So when you saw what they were doing, this is what's interesting too. Didn't expect this with Jaden Reed. They're handing the ball off to him. They're giving him multiple carries each game. He's that kind of athlete. We both really like Jaden Reed, and you remember why. We both kind of liked him anyways. And then we talked to Matt Harmon this preseason, had him on the show, and he was one of his favorites from this rookie class. Sold me even more on him. So, yeah, I think he's flex worthy any week. What's up, Ramu? Ramu Chalasani is back. Needs two receivers and the flex between Olave, Dell, Chase, Douglas, and Ford.
Well, I think the two receivers have to be Olave and Dell, even over Chase. I just But I'll say, that being said, I'm probably still flexing Chase. I do like Jerome Ford, but I'm a little worried only because last week we saw some really strange usage for Jerome Ford. Like after playing, over 60% of the snaps, dominating the touches, last week suddenly it was like a 50-50 out of nowhere with Kareem Hunt. I don't know why. Because it wasn't like that was like and they had Dorian Thompson Robinson through 40 passes in a game that was like nobody was scoring. Like it wasn't like they were playing from behind. Like why did he throw 40? Why did you have Dorian Thompson Robinson throwing 40 passes?
And half of them went to the tight end for 2 yards.
Exactly. It was like just a really weird game last week. I think we see Jerome Ford get back to like 60% of the snaps. He did have 5 targets last week, which is nice. So, but I don't think I could start him over Chase, is what I'm trying to say in a very long-winded way here. I'm going to Olave, Dell, and Chase.
Yeah, I think you just go the first 3. I mean, there's no way you can talk me into Douglas over those guys. And Ford, there's a path for him, but I think in this case, just go with Chase. So yeah, go with the first 3. And talking about the Packers there, Thomas wants to know, is A.J. Dillon droppable? Yes.
I mean, yeah, probably. I
mean, did he not have his opportunity to get all of the touches this week? Yes, he did.
Again.
And he's had it multiple times this season and done nothing with that opportunity. Yes, he had.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know. Don't know why, but yeah. All right, and then Mixter. Need to flex here. Amari, Godwin, Deontay, or London?
Man, Spider-Man memes, except for Amari. Amari way below these guys for me. Yeah. Godwin, Deontay, London, Spider-Man meme. It's a good matchup for London. They're coming out of the bye. Arthur Smith feels like he's finally on the hot seat. Like, and he knows it. And he knows it. I'm gonna gamble on London. It's a really, without Marshawn Lattimore, this is a really good matchup for him. This Godwin, I mean, what has Godwin really done? He had like 2 or 3 games there where like he started getting involved, but Mike Evans is clearly the number 1 guy. I'm not ready to buy back into the Steelers passing game just because they fired Matt Canada. If you told me they were going to replace Kenny Pickett with like a good quarterback, okay, I'll be back in, but it's still Kenny Pickett. So I'm going to go with London.
I feel like it should be Godwin. I don't know, because it's not a terrible spot for him. But yeah, like the last 2 weeks, even when he had a really good matchup last week, he hasn't done much. I'm not sure why. It can't be Amari. I know Deontay. Look, with these guys, I'll wait on Deontay. So to me, I'm struggling Godwin, London. I feel like Godwin makes more sense, but I also feel like Godwin hasn't panned out the last couple of weeks. So if you're feeling London, I'm okay with London. Although I did call a big Mike Evans week a boom, so I guess we can't go with Godwin. All right, young visionary, trade K9 for Garrett Wilson. Now that he has the QB upgrade. Third guy for guy on bad team. I mean, at least you get a guy who's playing.
Yeah, and look, he got a bunch of targets at least, and he's going to continue to get a bunch of targets. So sure, I guess give me Garrett Wilson. We don't know when Walker's going to get back, and the Seahawks have a brutal rest of the season. He doesn't get a good matchup until week 17.
Yeah, too late then.
Yeah, too late. I guess take Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I hate to say, but Walker is probably a guy. I mean, not that his trade value is so great right now, but he's not going to play probably this week, maybe next week. Who knows? And tough schedule, and even when he comes back, he's not going to just put Charbonnet on the bench. They're going to be splitting carries. So, yeah, you might as well. All right, so Python wants to clarify here. He's saying if we're high enough on downs, yeah, I've been talking up downs. I think I put him on the waiver wire video too. So sit one, Javonte, London, or Downs. I can sit Javonte this week.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Javonte Williams this week. I'll sit him. I don't think he has a lot of upside this week.
Yeah, I'd definitely put Downs over Javonte. Steven, rest of the season. All right. So Watson, Gabe, Rice, or Defoe? Who's Defoe?
I don't know.
Not Debo. I'm assuming it's not Debo.
No, don't drop Debo. Am I the sucker? Am I the sucker here?
What?
Like, am I going to be like, just go ahead, pick? It's Watson, and then we're all going to fall for it. He's going to do nothing next week against the Chiefs. But when I look at this, it's like, what is Rasheed Rice going to do? He didn't even get the bump we wanted to see coming out of the bye. He actually got used less coming out of the bye. He ran less routes coming out of the bye than he had going into the bye. Like, they used him less. That is not what you want to see. That is not the sign of a team who feels like, okay, he's starting to figure it out. Let's get him more. No, it's the opposite. So I guess just Watson. I guess. Yes.
I'm still trying to figure out the last part here. I'm not sure if he's asking which one to drop or what Defoe is. If you're saying you have to drop one of these guys, I'm not going to drop Watson. I'd rather drop Rice or Gabe.
Yeah.
I guess I would just drop Rice.
Yeah, Rice is droppable.
I'm going to assume you're not asking Debo. You don't want to drop Debo.
No.
I don't think that's what you're asking. But anyways, you can always clarify there.
Debo just had a huge game, too.
Yeah. All right. So what else? We got Ramu with another one. Thank you, Ramu. All right. Looking ahead. So next week, he's saying both him and the opponent have QBs on bye. Should you pick up a QB now to prevent him? But here are the options. I'm hoping that's Russell Wilson. Got Love, Stafford, Minshew. Would have to drop one of those guys. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you know your QB is going to be on a bye next week, you might as well grab one of these guys now. So if we look at the schedule, like, who do we like the best?
When Jordan Love gets the Chiefs, so not great unless you think that, well, they're going to throw it a lot. Yeah. Rams get the Browns. Sorry, no way. Not picking up Stafford.
Who do the Broncos get? Or is that
Russ? Let me see. The Broncos are going to face the Texans on the road.
Texans.
Still don't know if he even has as much upside. And then we got Minshew gets Tennessee.
Ooh.
But it's Tennessee on the road.
But it's Tennessee. But I probably still, I guess, I'm going to go Love. I don't love it. But Minshew is definitely enticing. Minshew's enticing against Tennessee.
Minshew has the best matchup. Yeah. If you're going matchup, it's Minshew. But if you're going like actual talent, it's Jordan Love. And I say this, with some respect to Matt Stafford, who at one time was one of the better passing quarterbacks in the league. Not this year. Sorry.
Yeah, you might as well just pick up Love now and drop like Shaheed. If you're not going to flex Shaheed this week, do you really need to stash Shaheed?
Exactly. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. Pick up Love. And yeah, and you can drop Shaheed. Yeah, so other people are agreeing Rice is droppable. I think so.
Yeah, I think Rice is. You know what's funny? In one of my leagues, we traded Ramondre and Rasheed Rice for Kenneth Walker, which I now regret because I just wish I had Kenneth Walker back. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson back. But then Rasheed Rice got dropped, so we picked him back up, and then we dropped him again.
The cycle never ends.
You can drop
all right. Steven was saying, defo means definitely. All right. We're old. Didn't know that.
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah. Out of those three guys, it's probably Watson. But look, I'm fully expecting Watson to do nothing against the Chiefs next week and everybody to drop him again. But
I'm dropping Rice. Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely drop Rice.
See, I just learned something new. Defo. See, Rice is droppable.
Yes.
111. I'll just drop Rice. I mean, what are we holding out for? He's not getting better. He's just stagnated. So
Yep.
So in this case, Rel Woods, are you gonna flex Rice or Shakir?
I mean, what is?
I mean, in this case, I will say at least Rice is one of the top targets on the team. Shakir is like the number 4 guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you look at Shakir. Okay, he had that huge touchdown last week, but only 3 catches. Only 1 catch the week before. 4 the week before. Like, I mean, I'm still going Rice over Shakir.
That's funny. And he's like, well, I guess we answered it. No,
I'm going Rice over Shakir. I mean, look, how many, what is Shakir, like, he's got to be available on like 90% of fantasy leagues.
Look, that's the you asked, like, is Rice droppable? I mean, it depends, right? It depends. Yeah, you can drop Rice. You definitely don't have to hold Rice if you're in a 12-man league. But the question is Shakir even rostered in those same leagues? In most of them, he's not.
Shakir's droppable too. Available. Yeah, 70. He's only rostered in 26% of leagues. So yeah.
Right, because you say droppable because it assumes people actually have him. Like, you don't assume everybody has Shakir right now.
I'm surprised we've gotten 2 Shakir questions tonight. I'm like, he's on this many teams.
Yeah, well, he had a big touchdown last week. All right, let me throw this out there. And of course, I'm doing this very specifically for a reason. Rice.
Okay.
Shakir. Greg Dortch.
I might go Greg Dortch, honestly, with Hollywood dealing with his heel. I might go Dortch.
He honestly could be the number 1 receiver in Arizona. Well, he was the number 1 receiver in Arizona last week. He led the team in targets and catches and in yards. If Brown either doesn't play or is limited, which he's been, Wilson doesn't sound like he's going to play again. Yeah, sure, McBride benefits, but you need a flex. Yeah. Why not go with Dortch? They're going to have to throw it. I mean, they got to throw it to somebody. Who else do they have? Rondale Moore, he's not, and he's never going to be a target hog. He's not that kind of guy. He's not even a downfield receiver. All right, there you go. So the answer is neither. The answer is pick up Greg Dortch.
Yes.
Oh, all right. What about this? Drop Dillon for A.T. Perry. Why not?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Why not?
All right. Dan Walker is happy. He caught us. We got time because we're caught up on the super chats. Your time reviewing my team has come to an end. Oh, because your trade deadline is yesterday. 8-3, tied for first place. Very nice. All right. Well, if you need start sit, we can still, we can always do start sit. But
I mean, you must have a good team. You're 8-3, so well done. Well done.
All right. There you go. Yeah, Higgins not playing. I know that's.
I mean, would you have even played Higgins if he was playing?
All right, I know people have a lot of shopping to do, so we'll hang on for a little while longer. If you have questions you want to make sure you definitely get answered. Glad everyone here is just hanging out with us on this Black Friday. Don't forget, I know some of you didn't catch this at the very beginning. Well, Turkey Day is over. The airdrop happened. Hopefully some of you out there, so hopefully some of our endgame viewers did win. But even if not, you have a good chance to win. If you haven't tried Underdog yet, check it out. Use promo code ENDGAME, and you still get that 100% deposit match up to $100. And you get the new customer special just for signing up. You get to use this pick'em. It's a freebie. Lamar Jackson just needs a yard. Just take Lamar Jackson higher. You'll see that pop up at the very top of your screen once you go to the pick'ems after you create an account. And again, you just create an account. Every dollar you put in, you get $1 back, up to $100. So you're kind of playing with house money already. And then you can take advantage of this special for this week on Sunday. Lamar Jackson just getting a yard. So check it out if you haven't already. And they're going to do some more holiday specials. I just know it. So get your account now so you're ready for it. So somebody asking Jack Henry about Flowers if he is out. Then Dame's saying that Flowers said there's no chance I'm not playing. You're worried about Flowers?
I was a little bit worried yesterday. He went to a DNP, but yeah, he practiced fully today and he said he's playing. But you always got to be worried about guys that pop up randomly on the injury report, like how healthy are they? But man, this is such a good spot for Flowers. So
Now,
you really like Downs too?
I was gonna say, here's the question: do you still like Flowers better than those guys?
I might just go Downs. He's not on the injury report. It's a great spot for him too. I might just go Downs and not risk it with Flowers.
Yeah, I like Downs. He has more upside, and I say that because he's actually had more big games than Flowers in terms of touchdowns, and even before he was hurt. So, yeah, I like Downs better. And then Sanders or Chandler?
I think it's got to be Chandler. I mean, Sanders, I can't start Miles Sanders right now. No way. I'll just gamble on whatever Chandler gives me.
Just really want to distance myself from the Carolina offense as much as possible. So, yeah, I think I'll just take whatever Chandler gives me. What's up, Brian? He says he's been here lurking. All right. Just kind of a little voyeurism.
What's up?
Drop a like. Appreciate that. All right. Do some more super chats here. Anything you guys definitely want answered before tomorrow? Don't worry. We'll be here for our regular Saturday show. It's a regular day. Flip side fishing. Kyren or Bijan?
I still got to go Bijan. I mean, Kyren coming back from injury. I know it's a great matchup against the Cardinals, but I think, again, I talked about it. I even said before that game before the bye, I said, I'm getting the vibe that Arthur Smith is finally caving in. And he's just going to give Bijan a bunch of touches, and he did. And I think he's going to continue to do that because they lost again, and he's finally feeling the pressure. So I think he's going to finally get his best players involved. I think we're going to see a lot of Bijan this week. I actually like that it's Desmond Ridder because Desmond Ridder will take the checkdowns to Bijan Robinson. He'll get those like cheap Breece Hall receptions. Not to mention, all the carries. So I'm still going Bijan this week.
Yeah, I think I still have to go Bijan. Not because I'm worried that Arthur Smith is actually going to do the right thing, but because I think the talent is there. He'll get enough touches to be effective. Put it that way. I mean, the matchup definitely favors Kyren, but we don't really know how many touches Kyren will get for sure. We don't. So I'll go Bijan, which leads perfectly into this question. Talking about quality. So, Steven, open-ended question here. When you get to the playoffs, and this actually is relevant for any week of the season, but especially in the playoffs where you have to win, what do you prioritize? The talent, like the player quality, if you want to call it that, or the matchup? Saying he got burned last year just going with better players. Do you know people say this, oh, don't sit your studs, start with the stud. This is ridiculous. But anyways, what's your thought?
Well, there's certain guys. Like, look, I got burned last year too. I had a team with CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. Well, CeeDee Lamb was good. I had a team with Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, George Kittle, somebody else came, and they all busted on week 17 and I lost. But there's certain guys I don't bench. Look, no one is going to come through every week of the season, 17 games, no down games. Sometimes it's going to happen in week 3 and we're going to forget about it. Sometimes it's going to happen in week 17 and we're never going to forget about it, right? We're going to remember it for years because they killed us in the most important game of the season. But that's just the luck of the draw. So there's certain guys that I don't care about the matchup. I'm not sitting them because remember the first week when Justin Jefferson played the Packers last year, he went off for like 33 fantasy points. Had you benched him because it was the Packers and he went off for 33 fantasy points, because like how, so there's certain guys like I guess like at the top, like the Tyreek Hills, those guys. I don't care. I don't care who they're playing. They're in my lineup. Like look, Tyreek Hill just had a terrible matchup today, and what did he do? 26 fantasy points or something like that. You know what I mean? But then when you get down to the guys below that tier, when you get to the guys who aren't just like the best of the best, that's when I start thinking more about the matchup, usage, how are they used, things like that. So, like, I guess the answer then is it depends, right? If it's like the stud, just the stud, no doubt studs, they're in my lineup. I don't care. If they burn me, they burn me. Oh well, everybody burns me. That, wide receiver 3 that has that fantastic matchup, he can also burn you, and probably has a higher chance to burn you, to be honest. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I'll say. I mean, there's no right answer. It depends, because when you say player quality, where do you draw the line between which
Right.
player is significantly better than another? And then matchup, it's easier to determine, but it doesn't always go the way we think. So I'd say if there's a tiebreaker, like if you have two guys that you're really 50-50 between and you just don't know, then I would go for player quality as the tiebreaker. Like I'm not going to overemphasize a player who isn't as good or who isn't used as often because of the matchup. But at the same time, I'm not just going to blindly start a guy. Well, this guy's a better player. He was a first round pick or whatever, as opposed to some guy in a better matchup. So it just really depends. You're going to have good players bust. That happens. Yep. You're going to have scrubs who you've never thought about going to go off in certain games because they play bad defenses or whatever. And you can't do anything about it. So I think the answer here is to not just pick one and go with it. It's to really look at the context of everything and decide which one makes the more sense. And I think matchup matters, but in a way different from what people realize. It's not just good defense, bad defense. It's what type of position, what type of player gets used, how's the game script going to go. That's what matters the most, is the thing that, of course, we can't predict. How's the game going to go? Do we think this team is going to be running ahead? If this case, if this team wins and they're going, if they're winning, early in the first half, it favors the running game. Maybe that means that the quarterback gets less points and vice versa. So I think it's in that case, matchup matters. Is how do you think this game is going to go? How is the offensive coordinator going to want to attack that defense? That's what matters. But that's why we break all these things down in as much detail as we can. So don't just blindly go with one or the other. All right, how about this? Help with lineup, please. There's more, though. HM. In a standard league, one receiver, two running back, and a flex. Olave, Kupp, Bijan, JT, Connor Ford, Kyron, Herbert. One receiver and two running backs and a flex.
I still got to go Kupp. He's playing. They say he's good to go. It's the Cardinals. I got to go Kupp. I'm going Bijan and JT at running back for sure. And then I'm flexing Kyron. It sounds like he's good to go. It's standard scoring. It's the Cardinals. I'm going Kyron.
Yeah, Bijan and JT are easy. I think I'm starting Kupp too. We know he's going. Flex is tough. It's standard. Olave and Kyron. I'm tempted by Olave, but the fact that it's standard, you should probably just go the running back.
Yeah, I think we missed this one.
Oh, sorry about that. Big Route, also known in some circles as Big Root. Kupp or Devontae in a standard league.
Yeah, I still got to go Kupp over Devontae. Devontae's a tough matchup against the Chiefs this week. Kupp gets the Cardinals. I know there's risk with Kupp. Maybe he's not 100%. Man, it's such a good matchup. I'm still going with Kupp.
Standard league again. It's not a great matchup for Devontae Adams, right? It might get the volume. If this was a PPR league, I actually might lean Devontae, but I feel like the touchdown upside is in Kupp's favor. So I guess I'll go Kupp. All right. What about Did You Die? Flex, Singletary, Addison, Cook, Hollywood, or, well, Noah Brown's out, isn't he?
Noah Brown's out again. Just when he... Oh, man. I can't do it with Hollywood. This heel thing hasn't practiced all week. I can't do it.
No.
James Cook, not a good spot for him this week. Addison, Singletary. Oh, man. I say none. I don't really like any of these guys.
Like any of these picks, I know. Assuming PPR, I just might give the edge to Addison.
I guess. I was gonna say maybe keep rolling with Singletary because he's been good, and maybe they'll give him more of the work. But I'm not feeling any of these guys this week. But maybe Addison if it's PPR.
Yeah, if it's PPR, probably just go the receiver because Jefferson's not playing. He'll still get enough targets, I would think, to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, let's go back because I saw this. One more thing from Dame. Looking ahead, week 13. I love how everyone's looking ahead. We're ready for this week to be done. Allen's on bye, so Carr or Minshew.
Well, we said Minshew gets the Titans, Carr gets the Lions, but they're in New Orleans. I might go Carr. This Lions pass defense suddenly looks terrible. They don't even get pressure. They were barely getting pressure on Jordan Love. Like, what happened to this Lions defense? Where did they go? What has happened? Did I miss some like major injury? Did I miss something? I mean, I might have. Sadly might go Carr at home against the Lions.
Yeah, I figured they'll have to throw it a fair amount. Can't ever get too excited about Minshew. I know the matchup's good, but Tennessee, again, is one of those teams that's been a lot better at home versus the road. They're terrible on the road, but they're good at home. I don't know why, but I'd go Carr. All right, Jedi Koth. Of course. There's no holiday here. We don't take days off. For half PPR, you need the flex. Henry or Olave?
Well, I think especially in half PPR, I'm going Henry. This should be a good Henry game. It's the Panthers.
There you go. Relieved you said that because I'm going Henry. It's such a smash spot. Derrick Henry in a smash spot, which hasn't been in for a while. I don't know how they had like 3 straight games. I just finished talking about this, coincidentally, on the road. Yeah, I'll go Henry and watch him smash. And another, Ridley or Downs?
It's half PPR.
You were saying you don't feel it's a Ridley week. I don't feel it's a Ridley week.
Yeah. Maybe just go Downs. Downs should be good. Even in half PPR, he should be good.
Thing with Ridley is it's either boom or bust. Almost there hasn't been much in between, has there?
No.
Okay, going Downs. I'm not sure what that means. And then Phil also wants to know, he says, is there a better start than probably Shakir, not Shakira? Rashawn with former now. Mooney, Nelson Aguilar. Ooh, we're getting deep here. CEH.
Maybe Mooney? It's the Vikings.
Kind of thought about Mooney. I mean, he didn't do much last week, but he could. Maybe Mooney. Not CEH. Not
CEH. Probably not Rashawn. I might have been okay with Aguilar if like Odell or Zay Flowers were out, but it sounds like Bateman's playing, Odell's playing, Flowers is playing. That means Aguilar's way down the depth chart. Maybe Mooney. I don't know. Maybe still Shakir. Yeah, these guys are all like put them in your lineup and just pray. Right? Pray.
Yeah, basically. I think Mooney is probably the one that sticks out. He doesn't really stick out, but probably the one that I might try. Yeah, I mean, Slim Big, that's, what, I will say that's good. At least you're in a competitive league. I prefer that you have to actually think about this as opposed to like, hey, somebody dropped, DK Metcalf. You think I should pick him up? Okay. What about do a couple more? Jose Manuel Aceves, Nico or Olave?
This is close this week. I'm not feeling a huge Olave game. I feel like the answer should most of the time be Olave. But look, it's another good matchup for the Texans at home against the Jags. No Noah Brown again. But it probably should be Olave.
It's not a great spot for Olave. AJ Terrell has been really good this year.
Yes. I
But I
know.
feel
And
like
Derek
he's always
Carr.
capable. Nico is kind of the same, kind of in the same spot.
Yep. He's got the slightly better matchup, though, honestly.
And they are at home, right?
Yeah, they're at home, which is usually good. So, yeah, man. But can I really say Nico over Chris Olave? Because Olave doesn't have Tank Dell. So I'd probably still go Olave. Feels closer than it should be this week, but I probably still go Olave.
One thing that kind of works in the favor of anybody facing Jaguars is the fact Tyson Campbell, their top young corners, probably going to miss again. He's got a hamstring injury. He's been really good this year. He was good early in the year and has been injured. I feel like Nico has the ceiling here. I feel like he's the higher upside guy. Olave's probably the safer pick. So I think if you want to shoot for the higher upside, it's Nico. I'm sorry, but if not, you can just stick with Olave. Nico's is riskier. All right, then Ruben wants to know who to flex here: Flowers, Godwin, or Downs.
Am I going to be too high on Downs this week?
I was going to say, going to keep going Downs. I'm okay
I
with
think I
Downs.
am. I think I am. I mean, it's not a bad spot for Godwin, but you just never. Mike Evans might get 15 targets, and Godwin's just kind of like the forgotten guy. So I'm going Downs.
I'm going to go Downs. Been sticking to Downs. Why not? With these guys, again, they're all solid, but I don't feel a boom from Flowers or Godwin. So they just haven't. They just haven't lately. So yeah, I'm going to go Downs. And then what about defense? Vikings or Chiefs? You got to go. Chiefs play the Raiders.
Yeah, Chiefs against the Raiders. Not only that, they're the way better real life defense. Got to go Chiefs.
Yeah, Vikings get the Bears. The Bears now look kind of scary with Justin Fields and DJ Moore back. Yeah, I'm going to go Chiefs for sure. All right, let's do a couple more. And let's try some we haven't heard. Well, how about some quarterback questions? Mario Bouchage, Lamar or Stroud?
Lamar. Not benching Lamar. It's the Chargers, too. Give me Lamar.
Don't bench Lamar. Mr. Holmes, Stroud or Herbert?
Okay, here I might actually go Stroud this week. Herbert on the road. Are they on the? Well, they might be at home actually.
But, no, I think they're at home, but it's the Ravens.
Yeah, they're at home, but it's the Ravens. I like Stroud at home against the Jaguars. I'm going Stroud.
Yeah. Herbert's still been good, but definitely a much tougher matchup. Stroud at home, I can do that. And then we buy homes near you, 512. 6-team standard league. All right.
Oh man. All right.
Are we starting Kyron over Kamara or Barkley?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
No, not even in standard.
No. I mean, look, okay, I guess Kamara maybe takes a big hit in standard scoring, but I'm probably still starting him over Kyron.
Yeah, I think you're fine with those guys. Which could be best scheduled rest of season? Okay, well, we'd have to look into that, but who do you like rest of season? Purdy, Fields, Love, Goff, or Dobbs?
I don't know what the schedules is, but it's Fields for me. I mean, with what he does with his legs, he looked good throwing the ball last week. Fields over these guys for sure for me.
Yeah, I think it just has to be Fields. Nobody on that list has near the upside that Fields has. And I don't think we really need to wait and see. We saw it last week. What do we see from Fields? Huge shot down the field, DJ Moore for the touchdown, running. That's what you want to see. Now, here's the problem. Rest of the season, week 13, after this week, Justin Fields has a bye. So you can't just go with Justin Fields next week. So in that case, I mean, it's a 6-team league, so it really doesn't matter because you can pick up any of these guys. So I guess pick up either, I don't know, Love or Goff. I don't know whose schedule is better next week, but
I'd probably want Purdy against the Eagles.
who are they getting next week?
Eagles.
All right.
Purdy versus the Eagles. Because I feel like that's a game where, like, Eagles, they give up a lot through the air. I feel like that's a game that'll be a high-scoring game. Two really good teams. I might want Purdy next week.
Well, maybe here's the best question, though, is do you need to pick a quarterback rest of the season when it's a 6-man league and all these guys are on waivers? Like, why can't you just play matchups every week?
Well, yeah, but, I mean, that's true. But also, I feel like Justin Fields is, like, a set and forget over these guys.
Yeah. So this week it's Fields. Next week it might be Purdy. The week after, I don't know, but probably Fields. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. And then let's do one more. Oh, all right. Frank. Fusco. Singletary or Devontae Smith?
Definitely Devonta Smith.
It's definitely Devontae Smith. Yeah. Singletary has been good, but might be splitting carries now. Devontae Smith, just kind of have to start him. All right. Anything else you want to tell the people before we sign off for Black Friday?
Just thank you. Thank you guys for letting us do this. Very, very, very appreciative, very grateful that we're able to sit here and talk fantasy football with you for hours, pretty much almost every day. And everybody watches our videos. So thank you. That's what I would say.
Yep.
Thank you.
We weren't live yesterday because, holiday, Thanksgiving, we're busy. But yes, we are definitely thankful for you guys. We'll be able to do this without you. So we appreciate you and hope that you join us tomorrow. Everybody, just hang out. Even if you got your questions answered, things change, injuries happen. Maybe you got more questions. You just want to hang out, join us. We appreciate you. And so check out all the videos. Maybe you haven't had time because of all the Turkey Day happenings, maybe all the shopping that you shouldn't have been doing, but you did. So check those out tonight and tomorrow. All the start sit. Maybe you still got some trade questions, whatever it is, we're here for you. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.